on guard passing this week, so we've already gone over the knee slide. We talked about how the X pass can be used as a reaction to our opponent trying to reach out for us as we're knee sliding. And we're simply going to be pushing that leg, turning it into a lever, and then the X pass is right there. That's what we did last night. I just want to go over 2 more quick entrances to the X pass. The first one is going to be off of that shin circle. So if my opponent, again, is on their back, and they have this double hook situation, the double ankle sweep is fairly imminent, okay? So I want to make sure that I address one of these hooks as soon as I'm able to. So I like to think of this kind of like a trigger. As soon as I shin circle, I'm going to X pass right away. So I'll demonstrate slow motion. And then we can come down for the knee ride, or I'll show you a couple of other finishes for the X pass as well tonight. But again, it's a trigger. As soon as I shin circle, I'm immediately going to X pass, just like we did in the previous class. So again, our center of gravity is low. We're making sure that we're holding onto these knees. A couple of things that we were having difficulty with was I'm not trying to move my leg away from him. I'm trying to circle my shin over the axis of his shin here. Now, in this situation, as soon as I hit that shin circle, I'm simply going to take a small step out with my left foot. I'm going to take the right foot, kick, as I'm pushing that leg underneath. I'm going to go over a couple different ways to finish. What we did last night was we came in with that right shin. We turned their hips away, framing on the opposite side, the corner rotational control, and that's going to be a really strong position finishing with the knee ride. Of course, you can go for the classic knee on belly. So again, a shin circle, kick, and then just straight down to the knee on belly here. Or my preferred option would be to finish with the leg drag. So I shin circle, kick, and then I finish here in the leg drag, okay? It really doesn't matter which one you guys do. You could even come down to side mount if you want. I'm not super worried about how you're finishing the X pass. I want you guys to just understand this sort of reactionary trigger of as soon as I shin circle, I'm X passing right away and trying to get on top of him, okay? So once more, we'll rotate this way. So he's got double hooks on me. Notice how my center of gravity changes, okay? Let's say I'm engaging his guard. He hooks me. If I'm upright like this, Frankenstein's monster, I'm going to be eating the mat real soon. So I immediately come down close. I shin circle 1. I step out. Even if he's holding onto that ankle, I don't care too much. I just need to make sure that the leg that's doing the X pass, it needs to be able to kind of blast out. So like if he starts setting up a reverse de la Riva or starts trying to pull me into half guard, I really got to blast that leg out fairly hard. Knee on belly. Come in for knee ride. We could always drop the knee for the twisted mount. Or if you know, we can start coming here for the leg drag like we've done from previous weeks. All right, let's rotate over to this side. So we're here, 1, 2, and then 3. Again, that knee ride is going to be helpful for breaking their posture. I'm always looking for a posture break when I'm trying to maintain top control because this is going to be efficient regardless of the opponent's size. Big people, I can't hold them down very well, so I like using the posture break here, foot in the knee pit, opposite corner rotational control. That's a very efficient way to hold people down, so that's one that I like to employ. I'll do one more time from the front without talking. Here we go. In this situation, I came down to leg drag instead. Remember, if we go for leg drag, I'm trying to get my body in front of that leg, and I'm keeping my foot flared, accessing this lever to keep his foot off the mat so that he can't generate the force to start turning back into me. Okay, guys? So again, play around with the finishes, okay? I want you to understand the sort of dynamic nature of the X pass. It's not necessarily like a one and done, this is the only way. It's more of reactionary. When I'm in there, I can X pass, and then I can move into a myriad of different positions. Next, we'll look at more of a proactive way to approach the X pass as well. Okay, guys? Any questions? Does anyone need to see it again? 1, 2. So any questions on that shin circle to X pass? Again, the trigger being as soon as I strip a hook with the shin circle, I can immediately go for that X pass. You don't need to do both the hook removals, remember? I don't need to go double shin circle, right? We'd use this to start to like come inside and gain lever access to start like dropping into leg drags and stuff. But again, for the case of the X pass here, we don't need to do both shin circles. So just one is fine. And then remember, it's almost like a hop. So I'm going to kind of hop and kick at the same time. And then as I come down, I choose where I want to land. Again, you could just come straight down here for like your side mount where your hip is on their hip and you're focusing on hip control first. That's a fine option as well. If you're going to go for the knee on belly, just remember, especially in no-gi, leg locks are a very meta thing, meaning very effective right now. So the more I leave this heel exposed, the more likely it's going to be that I'm going to start getting pulled into leg lock position. So if you're going to go for knee on belly, just make sure that that right foot is kind of hooked onto his butt a little bit. And that could even start leading into the knee ride with that opposite corner twisted away. So just make sure we're hiding that foot. Just even though most of you in here can't do higher level leg locks, it's just something that you always need to be conscious of, keeping your feet protected. Okay, so the last little thing I want to go over tonight is more of a proactive approach to the X pass. So let's say if I'm going up against someone who has a particularly good like seated butterfly guard, maybe I have trouble winning the engagement phase. If we rotate real quick here, coach. So again, winning the engagement phase would be winning this initial grip fight and putting them on their back, okay, without them setting up any semblance of a guard. So I've won the engagement here. But sometimes my opponent just has a really good butterfly guard, and it's difficult for me to gain access on the ankles there. So this is actually a good opportunity to set up the close range X pass, where I'm kind of crowding him a little bit, and I just initiate the X pass really fast. Okay, so I'll show slow motion here, guys, and then we'll break down some of the important concepts of this one. Okay, so for this particular movement, you don't want to think of it too much like a bum rush, but you are kind of like charging towards them with this one. It's still going to be a little bit reactionary, but you can be very proactive with it as well. So if I'm able to win the grip fight, guys, so by win the grip fight, I mean if I'm able to, in no-gi, if I can grab me to the thumbs and circle his hands away, I'm going to aim to get one hand on the knee, one hand on the opposite shoulder. My goal here is to prevent him from closing his knee-elbow space. If I start walking around Coach Seth's guard right now, he's going to start closing that knee-elbow space here, okay, and making it difficult for me to attack the guard. So if I can just keep my hand here, as my right hand pushes his back down, I'm going to keep this leg on the mat. So I'm essentially just forcing that gap open. So where does the X pass come into this? The X pass is actually going to be a little bit of a smaller, like a micro X pass almost. So as I'm walking here, I'm not going to do this big grandiose kick in the air. It's almost going to be like a mix between the X pass and the Shin circle. The reason I don't have to do a big kick is because he's not on his back. When they're on their back, their legs can reach up way higher. So I need to really kick my legs up and out of the way for the X pass. Since he's in the seated guard, as I'm focusing on keeping that knee pinned to the floor and stiff arming that opposite shoulder, I'm just going to kind of circle my shin. Again, it's like a mix between the X pass and the Shin circle. Okay, so let's look at it again. We'll do it from this perspective. So let's talk about the engagement. If I can win the engagement phase and open up that space, I'm going to get my hands right into the position. I take a small step out with my left foot. I start framing on the opposite shoulder. I do a small kick, and I walk. Okay? I'm not necessarily trying to like spin him like a top. Against a small guy, that's plausible, but against somebody your size or bigger, that's not going to happen. I'm just more so trying to keep this leg from coming up and joining his elbow. Okay, and again, as I step, small kick, and I come down. Now let's talk about what we do if we can't win that engagement phase. So if we're here, so if I just can't win, or if the grip fight, if I can't win the grip fight here, I'm going to start distracting him. So I'm going to start reaching towards his head. I'm just going to start pulling his head down. And did you see what Coach Seth did? He instinctively just reached up to try to paw my hands off of his head. So I'm not necessarily going for like a collar tie. I'm just literally pulling his head down, and it's almost like I'm annoying him. As soon as he starts reaching up, his hands come away from his legs. And that's the indicator that I'm looking for. So as I'm here and I'm pulling, he opens up that space for me to get my hands into the position and finish the X pass. Right, so again, in slow motion, you know, we're here, we're moving around a bit. I can't quite win the grip fight, so I'm just gonna start pulling his head. As he's reaching his hands up, I come into the position. Again, if I can go for knee ride, that's good. If I can come down, side mount, whatever you wanna get, come up on top. We're being a little bit more proactive and kind of attacking the position when we're going against kind of like a stagnant seated guard player, okay? I'll show it one more time without talking. We'll do from this way. So I'll win the grip fight first, and then I'll do one without winning the grip fight. Alrighty, guys, any questions? So going forward, prevent them from bringing the knee in to connect with the elbow, stiff arm and frame the opposite corner. You can get away with doing the same side shoulder. So if coach is down again, you know, I can get away with this. This is fine. But because I don't have opposite corner rotational control, it's gonna be harder to pin them. So like, as I'm starting to flatten, he can go onto his side a little bit and start setting up his frames. So that's why if I start framing with this opposite corner, it's gonna make it a little better, a little stronger, okay? Last thing, just remember, anytime I'm passing and my opponent is not blocking the leading edge, not blocking the thing that's gonna pin him down, they're setting up an armbar, okay? And you can play around with this, guys. So what I mean is, if I'm passing here, and instead of blocking my knee, he's reaching up and blocking my chest, right here, he's just asking for an armbar. So we can just kind of swing into the armbar. This is an option as well. Focus first on the pass though. I just wanted to kind of make that note of, if my opponent doesn't really know the concept of blocking the leading edge, and they're just kind of wildly reaching up for our chest, just armbar them. All right, guys, any questions? Cool, 1, 2.